Lion's Den, powered by KCB Bank. Entertainment is big business and so are films. In Africa, with all its talent, the challenge has been on how to monetize the industry while reaching large audiences. Well, sit back because My Movies Africa believe they have the solution.
I am excited and butterflies in the stomach as well.
We've done 5 years on this project, so today is been a lot of preparation. Greetings, Lions. I'm sure you can relate with me. It's Friday night. You've had a long week, hard week at the office, and you're itching to watch a movie at home in comfort. You've slipped into something comfortable. You have your popcorn. You're hanging out alone or with your family and friends, and we're ready for the great night in. So you pick up your device for your streaming app, and you scroll, and you scroll, and you scroll, and you still can't find anything that you want to watch. So Lions, I think you can all relate to this dilemma that faces millions of Kenyans every weekend. So if you're in the movie industry and you're into African films, Bollywood films, Hollywood films, how do you get your movie to more customers? The answer is My Movies Africa. My Movies Africa is a proprietary, proudly Kenyan digital cinema extension that brings movies, new releases, and classics directly to your mobile phone, your tablet, your laptop, smart TV, set-top box for 100 to 200 shillings rental for 48 hours or 400 to 800 shillings own for life purchase. You pay once, you own it for life. So my name is Mike Strano. I'm the co-founder and Business Development and Regulatory Affairs Director.
And my name is William Mushero. I'm the Technical Director and one of 5 shareholders of the company.
My name is Trishna Buddhev Patel. I am the co-founder and content director for My Movies Africa.
So for the next 4 years, we'll be following the same footprint that our business partner has been doing for the last 20 years. And in year 1, we will roll out in Kenya. Year 2, we will add Uganda and Rwanda. Year 3, we will add Tanzania and Zambia. And year 4, we will head west to Ghana and Nigeria. By the end of the 4 years, we would have accumulated a profit of 340 million shillings, and those are very conservative estimates. So tonight, Lions and Lionesses, we're offering 10% equity in our company, My Movies Africa, for 34 million Kenya shillings to any lion or lioness who's always dreamed of being a movie star. Thank you.
Thank you.
A cinema choice of films in the palm of your hand. Definitely a good idea. The challenge is whether the business model actually works for the region.
What's the 34 million for?
34 million is for deposit on content. For international, it's called the minimum guarantee. So it's basically putting money down, and then that rolls over once that money is paid out. So on cost of sale, that rolls over to every other year to help with the deposits for further years as well. And there's about 8 million of that goes into marketing as well. Yeah, so that brings us to 33, and it's about 1 million for operations.
Okay, I think you'll need a lot more than 8 million for marketing.
I just want to know, all these movies brought to us comfort of our homes, what about series? What about other things like documentaries? When do we get there?
We just decided to focus on that because there's a lot of other platforms that are dealing with series already. And we coexist in that space. Someone can have a subscription and still use our service because our service doesn't require a subscription.
Okay.
It's pay-per-view.
And now, looking at the numbers, please run me through how you worked out the revenues.
We took, for example, in Kenya, in 2018, there were 800,000 visits to cinemas in Kenya. So we're looking at a base of 200,000 customers. What we did then is we also cross-checked that against the number of Wi-Fi connections in Kenya. The number of Wi-Fi connections in Kenya are 357,000. Okay, so we validated that as well. So what we did is we said, if we take 200,000 customers who we know there's a good chance that they have Wi-Fi, okay? And then we take 25% of that, yeah? That's 50,000 customers. We've looked at our operational costs as well. So our gross margin is 37% roughly. And then we've gotten out of operational costs and marketing, we're down to a 23% before tax.
You said 357,000 Wi-Fi connections.
In Kenya, yes.
relationship between that and movie downloads is?
Because if you, it's still possible to use our service on data bundles. It's just it will cost you another 100 shillings on data on top of the 200 that you're paying for rental.
So you're assuming that if somebody is going to be watching from their device, then the higher possibility it will happen if they have Wi-Fi at home.
It's a lot easier on the pocket for them, but some can still do it as well. And incidentally, that 25% of those 50,000 customers is only 0.11% of all data connections in Kenya. So our total market is a lot larger than that. There is the opportunities of partnering with the telecoms to bundle the data with the content. Yeah, and that's
have
something.
You explored that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have, and that's the next step for us.
How many African movies have been in the box office, maybe the last 1 year?
I would estimate at around approximately 75.
And what's the ratio between global and African?
It is approximately 11 to 15%.
So you're targeting 1,800 shillings per customer per year?
Yes.
So you expect each customer to spend 1,800 shillings?
On average.
On average.
Yes, and remember it's pay-per-view, there's no subscription.
Okay, that's great. Why not just charge 2,000 shillings for the year? Because if you look at just how consumer habits, when you get onto Netflix, you start a movie because it looks great, then you realize, man, yeah, not feeling this one. Then you go to the next one, but I've already paid for it. Quite frankly, having to pay for each movie would be a barrier, and it's 100 shillings.
So when it comes to movie licensing, there are different licensing types. We're in the type of TVOD, which is transactional VOD. The other ones are subscription VOD.
What is the barrier to entry for somebody else who sees the opportunity the same way you've seen it?
The relationships that we've established, we're working with the studios not as a supplier, but more like a partner.
Let's talk some technology. Hosting, where are you going to be hosting?
We have servers in both Amazon Web Services and Google. So we've actually outsourced all the heavy lifting to the big boys, so we don't really have to handle it.
So you're going to do any local hosting?
For domains, maybe, but for the other bigger stuff, will be hosted elsewhere.
The Lions are asking tough questions regarding pricing and consumer habits, poking holes into the potential of the business.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you've definitely cracked something that is of value, is needed, and something that I will definitely, as an end user, pay for, because the scenario you've described is definitely something that happens most of the time. You get home, you want a good movie, you can't find it. Myself, I don't know much on film and media industry. I wouldn't be able to be of much help beyond the money. I don't believe I'm the best lion to help you out in this, so I'm out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
I launched an app, Energy Play app, a month ago, and it's really difficult to get those numbers. You pump it, you make noise, you go to malls. It's really difficult. I hope you have a very solid strat. For the 34 million, I don't agree how you came to that number. And for 10%, again, it's way too low for someone to be able to really give you the focus. You need, and I'm sure you've devoted your time really to be able to support this particular vision. I don't think I can add too much value at this particular point, and for that amount.
Thanks, Kevin.
You have come up with something that plays to a need and a want from a consumer behavior perspective. I see it slightly differently. One issue is the issue that Olive raised, the ability to change on demand what you watch. I think is consumer behavior that you really need to look into and accept as a way that consumers do behave. The other issue I slightly have, though, is whether we like it or not in Africa, we have an affinity and we aspire to consume Western brands. Now, why I say this is when I asked around the office as to how many people have Netflix or Showmax, very, very few people have Showmax. I just feel with the offering that the big boys have, when they pivot, if you do well, I think it'll be difficult to compete with them. But something that's a reality check and something to really think about. So I'm going to say I'm out. I wish you the best, and I hope you find the right strategy for you.
Thank you.
your strategy is right. You will need to market movie by movie.
Yes.
But to get people to download the app, I mean, they'll download it when they see it, and then, you know, I'm on my TV, and you tell me to pay for something. So by the time I start figuring out how I'm going to pay for that thing, I think you'll get the downloads. The hardest part will be to get the purchases. So I'm going to say I'm out, but I will, you know, Mike, look for me. I've heard you talk about it before, so I'm glad that you're here and that you've gone this far.
Thank you.
Look for me to help you out with marketing.
Sure.
I'm sure Kev will help you too as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to concur with Olive. There's a gap there, because I'm just trying to think what I would do. And for sure, this pay all the time is a bit of a nightmare. But if you told me to pay a subscription, I'll pay it. I'll pay at the beginning of the year, forget about it. Send me a renewal notice in September, I'll renew by November. I come from the promotion space, so you can imagine how my head is already moving.
Sure. Yes.
So I see a lot of opportunity. So from an investment perspective, for the same reasons my colleagues have said, I'm out.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you.
For your feedback.
Nice outfit.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
And thanks for the popcorn.
You're welcome. All right.
Unfortunately, My Movies Africa come out of the den without a handshake on a deal, but with important feedback and promise of support.
I think it's always good to get customer feedback. We've taken the builds positively.
It's a hard life being a lion.
So hard.
Hard life for those guys, which is there.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
We do know what we're doing, but there's some work to be done in terms of sensitizing the market.
Lion's Den, powered by KCB Bank.